Namaste. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 14, Text 3. Kalasya cha gatim rodram viparyasat viparyastartu dharmina papiyashim nirnam bhartam krodhalobhanrutatmanam. He saw that the direction of eternal time had changed, and this was very fearful. There were disruptions in the seasonal regularities. The people in general had become very greedy, angry, and deceitful, and he saw that they were adopting foul means of livelihood. Purport. When civilization is disconnected from the loving relation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, symptoms like changes of seasonal regulations, foul means of livelihood, greed, anger, and fraudulence become rampant. The change of seasonal regulations refers to one season's atmosphere becoming manifest in another season. For example, the rainy seasons being transferred to autumn, or the fructification of fruits and flowers from one season in another season. A godless man is invariably greedy, angry, and fraudulent. Such a man can earn his livelihood by any means, black or white. During the reign of Maharaj Yudhisthira, all the above symptoms were conspicuous by their absence. But Maharaj Yudhisthira was astonished to experience even a slight change in the godly atmosphere of his kingdom, and at once he suspected the disappearance of the Lord. Foul means of livelihood implies deviation from one's occupational duty. There are prescribed duties for everyone, such as the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. But anyone who deviates from his prescribed duty and declares another's duty to be his own is following a foul and improper duty. A man becomes too greedy for wealth and power when he has no higher objective in life, and when he thinks that his earthly life of a few years is all in all. Ignorance is the cause for all these anomalies in human society, and to remove this ignorance, especially in the age of degradation, the powerful sun is there to distribute light in the shape of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Text 4. Jimha prayam yabharritam satyamishram shasuridam pitra matra sridir bratri dampatinam chakalkanam. All ordinary transactions and dealings become polluted with cheating, even between friends. And in familial affairs, there was always misunderstanding between fathers, mothers, and sons, between well-wishers, and between brothers. Even between husband and wife, there was always strain and quarrel. Purport. A conditioned living being is endowed with four principles of malpractice, namely errors, insanity, inability, and cheating. These are signs of imperfection, and out of the four, the propensity to cheat others is most prominent. And this cheating practice is there in the conditioned souls because the conditioned souls are primarily in the material world, imbued with an unnatural desire to lord it over material nature. A living being in his pure state is not conditioned by the laws, because in his pure state he is conscious that a living being is eternally subservient to the Supreme Being, and thus it is always good for him to remain subservient, instead of falsely trying to lord it over the property of the Supreme Lord. In the conditioned state of the living being is not satisfied even if he actually becomes the lord of all that he surveys, which he never becomes, and therefore he becomes the victim of all kinds of cheating, even with his nearest and most intimate relations. In such an unsatisfactory state of affairs there is no harmony, even between father and sons or between husband and wife. But all these contending difficulties can be mitigated by one process, and that is the devotional service of the Lord. The world of hypocrisy can be checked only by counteraction through devotional service to the Lord, and nothing else. Maharaj Yudhisthira, having observed the disparities, conjectured that the disappearance of the Lord from the earth. Text 5. Nimittanyatyarishtani kaletvanu nirnam labhadya dharma prakritim dristovo chanu nripam. In course of time it came to pass that people in general became accustomed to greed, anger, pride, etc. Maharaj Yudhisthira, observing all these omens, spoke to his younger brother. Purport. Such a pious king as Maharaj Yudhisthira at once became perturbed when there was such inhuman symptoms as greed, anger, irreligiosity, and hypocrisy rampant in society. It appears from this statement that all these symptoms of degraded society were unknown to the people of the time, and it was astonishing for them to have experienced them with the advent of the Kali Yuga, or the age of quarrel. Text 6. Yudhisthira uvacha sampreshito dvarakayam jishnur bandhu didrikshaya gyatum cha punya shlokasya Kṛṣṇasya cha vicheshitam. Maharaj Yudhisthira said to his younger brother, Bhimasena, I sent Arjuna to Dwarka to meet his friends and to learn from the personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa, of his program of work. Text 7. Gata sabdha nunamasa Bhimasena tavanhuja Nayati kasya vahetur Naham vededam angyasa. Since he departed, 7 months have passed, yet he has not returned. I do not know how factually things are going there. Text 8. Api devarshinadishta sakalo yam upastita yaratmano nirgam akridam Bhagavan uchi shrikshati. Is he going to quit his earthly pastimes if Devarshi Narada indicated? Has that time already arrived? Purport. As we have discussed many times, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa, has many plenary expansions, and each and every one of them, although equally powerful, executes different functions. In Bhagavad Gita, there are different statements by the Lord, and each of these statements is meant for different plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions. For example, Sri Kṛṣṇa, the Lord, says in Bhagavad Gita, whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. 4.7. Next shloka is 4.8. To deliver the faithful and to annihilate the miscreants, and also to re-establish the principles of occupational duty, I appear in every age. Shloka 3.24. If I should cease to work, then all humanity would be misdirected. I would also be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all sentient beings. Shloka 3.21. Whatever action a great man performs, common men will follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. All the above statements by the Lord apply to different plenary portions of the Lord, namely his expansions as Sankarsana, Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Narayana. These are all he himself in different transcendental expansions, and still the Lord, as Sri Kṛṣṇa, functions in a different sphere of transcendental exchange with different grades of devotees. And yet Lord Kṛṣṇa, as he is appearing once every 24 hours of Brahma's time, or after a lapse of 8,640,000,000 solar years, in each and every universe, and all his transcendental pastimes are displayed in each and every universe in a routine spool. But in that routine spool, the functions of Lord Kṛṣṇa, Lord Vasudeva, etc. are complex problems for the layman. There is no difference between the Lord's self and the Lord's transcendental body. The expansions execute different activities. When the Lord, however, appears in his person as Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa, his other plenary portions also join in him by his inconceivable potency called Yoga Maya. And thus Lord Kṛṣṇa of Vrindavan is different from Lord Kṛṣṇa of Mathura or the Lord Kṛṣṇa of Dwarka. The Virat Roop of Lord Kṛṣṇa is also different from him by his inconceivable potency. The Virat Roop exhibited on the battlefield of Kurukshetra is the material conception of his form. Therefore it should be understood that when Lord Kṛṣṇa was apparently killed by the bow and arrow of the hunter, the Lord left his so-called material body in the material world. The Lord is Kaivalya, and for him there is no difference between matter and spirit, because everything is created from him. Therefore his quitting one sort of body or accepting another body does not mean that he is like the ordinary living being. All such activities are simultaneously one and different by his inconceivable potency. When Maharaj Yudhisthira was lamenting the possibility of his disappearance, it was just in pursuance of a custom of lamenting the disappearance of a great friend. But factually, the Lord never quits his transcendental body, as is misconceived by less intelligent persons. Such less intelligent persons have been condemned by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita, and they are known as mudhas. That the Lord left his body means that he left again his plenary portions in the respective dhams, transcendental abodes, as he left his Virat Roop in the material world. Text 9. Yasmannaha sampado rajam, Yasmanna sampado rajam, Dharha pranakulam praja, Asansapatna vijayo, Lokaschayad anugrahat. From him only, all our kingly opulence, good wives, lives, progeny, control over our subjects, victory over our enemies, and future accommodations in higher planets have become possible. All this is due to his causeless mercy upon us. Purport. Material prosperity consists of a good wife, good home, sufficient land, good children, aristocratic family relations, victory over competitors, and pious work, attainment of accommodations in the higher celestial planets for better facilities of material amenities. These facilities are earned not only by one's hard manual labor or by unfair means, but by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Prosperity earned by one's personal endeavor also depends on the mercy of the Lord. Personal labor must be there in addition to the Lord's benediction, but without the Lord's benediction no one is successful simply by personal labor. The modernized man of Kali Yuga believes in personal endeavor and denies the benediction of the Supreme Lord. Even a great sannyasi of India delivered speeches in Chicago protesting the benedictions of the Supreme Lord. But as far as Vedic Shastras are concerned, as we find in the pages of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the ultimate sanction for all success rests in the hands of the Supreme Lord. Maharaj Yudhisthira admits this truth in his personal success, and it behooves one to follow in the footsteps of a great king and devotee of the Lord to make life a full success. If one could achieve success without the sanction of the Lord, then no medical practitioner would fail to cure a patient. Despite the most advanced treatment of a suffering patient by the most up-to-date medical practitioner, there is death. And even in the most hopeless case, without medical treatment, a patient is cured astonishingly. Therefore, the conclusion is that God's sanction is the immediate cause for all happenings, good or bad. Any successful man should feel grateful to the Lord for all he has achieved. Text 10. Pasyot patan nadhabhyagra divyan boman sedhahikan tarunan samshato durad bhayam no buddhi mohanam. Just see, O man with a tiger's strength, how many miseries due to celestial influences, earthly reactions, and bodily pains, all very dangerous in themselves, are foreboding danger in the near future by deluding our intelligence. Purport. Material advancement of civilization means advancement of the reactions of the threefold miseries due to celestial influence, earthly reactions, and bodily or mental pains. By the celestial influence of the stars, there are many calamities like excessive heat, cold, rains, or no rains, and the after effects are famine, disease, and epidemic. The aggregate result is agony of the body and the mind. Man-made material science cannot do anything to counteract these threefold miseries. They are all punishments from the superior energy of Maya, under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, our constant touch with the Lord by devotional service can give us relief without our being disturbed in the discharge of our human duties. The Asuras, however, who do not believe in the existence of God, make their own plans to counteract all these threefold miseries, and so they meet with failures every time. The Bhagavad Gita 7.14 clearly states that the reaction of material energy is never to be conquered, because of the binding effects of the three modes. They can simply be overcome by one who surrenders fully in devotion unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Thus ends our reading for today. We will continue from text 11 on Wednesday, hopefully. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Niskam Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Vigyan Muni Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Nirmala Charya Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Jagad Guru Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to our Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the worldwide devotees Ki Jai. All glories to Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Nishingapuli Dham Ki Jai. Ekachakra Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Jew Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai. Sham Kund Radhakund Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Pramanandi Hari 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 Bol. Dandavat Pranam.